Okay, so let's actually step back from the whole theoreticals and see it in action. So let's go back to our resource pack directory and let's expand the 14th step, which is adding an autoloader. And we're going to copy index and the entire lib folder. And let's copy it over into our OOP folder and we'll replace everything that's in it. Okay, so let's look at our index.php file. So autoloading doesn't happen on its own, but PHP allows us to define autoloading functions that get run whenever a class gets instantiated or called for the first time. So we'll walk through that process with a debugger so you can see it line by line. But here's what it looks like. So we're using this function called SPL autoload register. SPL is short for standard PHP library, and the parameter this takes is the name of the function that gets called whenever a class gets instantiated. And you can register multiple functions this way. In this case, we're just doing one. And then here's the autoload function. So the parameter that gets passed to it when it gets called is the full namespace to the class that's being instantiated or called. And so what we're doing here is we're taking the namespace and exploding it based on a backslash. We're just escaping it with a second backslash here. We're grabbing the class name, which is at the end of that array. We're building a path to that class by grabbing the current directory, adding lib to it, grabbing the name of the class, and then adding .php. So here's an advantage to naming our file the same thing that the class is named. We can use this system consistently. And then finally, we include it. We don't even have to do an include once because this will only happen the first time that the class gets used. So notice at the top of this file, we don't have any require onces anymore. We just have our two use statements. And if we open up some of the classes inside of our OOP folder, let's look at builder, for example, you see that it just mentions the namespace. There's no require once. Before it had a require for the form class file. And we can continue opening these up and seeing that there's no require onces anymore. If we jump to the browser, let's just make sure that this is working. So I'm going to refresh and I'm going to confirm the resubmission of the form. And notice that we got a full submission. It worked. I'm going to jump back to the editor.